Hello, part 4, video feedback once again. So this is going to be a struggling video, I reckon. So what we're going to try and do is set up a DAQ dashboard completely from scratch, and I'm not going to plan this. I'm not going to do anything to try and make this video go smoother. In order to try and simulate the issues that you may go through. It is all fairly simple, but if you're not familiar with Google Cloud Platform and you're not familiar with Firebase and you're not familiar with XYZ Q47.2, then you may get a little bit caught up. So what I'm going to do is going to create a brand new GCP account from scratch, a brand new Firebase account from scratch, just to illustrate exactly what needs to be done from scratch. And if you've already got GCP, and if you've already got another Firebase account, then you should be able to do the exact same thing. And we're setting up other projects, and we're setting up other Firebase environments, so it should be fun. So, am I recording? Yes, I am. So first things first, what we'll do is create a new Gmail account, completely from scratch. Add another account. Can you do that? Create account. Manage my business? Probably not. First name. Not any of those, interestingly enough. First name. We're going to do all hands. Well, let's do all hands. And let's do all hands on DAQ.gmail.com. And let's choose a password of something. So let's do all hands. Fun fact, dots in Gmail addresses don't matter to Gmail. Okay, phone number. Just going to pause the recording for a second. Okay, we're back. And I have jumped through and stepped through the various hoops to create myself a brand new, let's choose compact, why not? A brand new Gmail account. So I've got all.hands.on.deck@gmail.com. If you try and email this inbox, it will not be monitored. So sorry about that. But yeah, so what we're going to do is just follow this through. So you'll need to have a Google Cloud Platform account. Well, let's not do that. So I'm going to sign in to Google Cloud with my brand new All Hands on Deck. And it's telling me, oh, thank you, welcome All Hands. I really shouldn't have chosen that as the first name. It's not great. Where's my GCP thing? Yeah. Okay. So the great thing about Google Console on Google Cloud Platform in general is that you can indeed get started for free. So let's just do that. At the time of recording, so kind of late January 2020, you can get $300 credit for free to spend on literally anything on Google Cloud Platform. So we're just going to do that. We're going to agree. Don't need email updates. Do some stuff. And yep, I'm just going to pause the video once again while I put in my credit card details because you don't need to know those. Back in a sec. And we're back. Welcome all. So as it says, I had to put in my credit card details, but I will, for the purposes of what we're doing today with DAQ, there's no way we're going to use $300 worth of credit, so don't worry about that. And as it says, if you're not out of credit, don't worry. You have to activate automatic billing to get charged. So it's not like AWS where you start off very, very happily on the free tier and then just suddenly you start getting charged $70 a month, which hasn't happened to me, and that's why I'm not bitter about it. Okay, so this is what Google Cloud Platform looks like when you first start it up. You've got all the services. down the left hand side, and we started my first project. But what's the wiki telling us to do? We're going to set up a dedicated project, and we're going to call it all hands on DAQ. New projects, all hands on DAQ. Organization, nothing. I've got 11 projects left. Damn. Right, so that's creating, that's all doing good stuff. Okay. So let's just wait for that to finish. Has it done it? Yeah. Cheeky refresh. Got it. Go to all hands on deck. All. There we go. So we got it. So we have created a dedicated GCP account, and we've got a dedicated GCP project. We've done it. So Firebase is kind of intrinsically linked to GCP, so make sure that you sign into Firebase with the same account. So all hands on deck. Close that one. Oh, close the wrong one. Oh, keep swapping. I don't mean to. Yeah, got it. So yeah, so GCP, all hands on deck. Very good. And then Firebase, all hands on deck. Very good. So go to the Firebase console and add a new project. So we're going to add a new project, and we're going to make it all hands on deck. Is that what we do? Yeah. So accept the Firebase terms. Yes, you do. We're going to accept pay as you go, because that's kind of the free one for a start. A few things to remember. Yeah, that's cool. Enable Google Analytics to the project. Why not? Analytics location, United States. I'm just going to accept all the defaults. That's all fine. So create a project. So next thing, we've got to enable storage on Firebase. So once it's provisioned as a result, or us. I'm from the north of England, and sometimes that pops out there. Once it's finished allocating our resources, we'll go here. And we're going to do, to get to this window here, this Firebase thing, we're going to open up Project Overview, or are these little... Oh. Aha! So this is where it's diverged. So I took that screenshot, which comes up here. So, there we go, sorry. Thank God, I thought the interface had changed. As websites are wont to do, such as their power. So, let's, as the wiki says, let's enable storage on Firebase. So if we just go to the storage thing here, then what do we need to do? Get started, presumably. Yeah, we'll just kind of do this. It doesn't necessarily matter unless you have concerns about where your data is actually stored, based on, I don't know, GDPR type things, or anything to do with the legislation that all of us must adhere to. Then it shouldn't really matter, but I'm just going to choose the default for now, but just be wary of that one. So we've got a default bucket that is being created, and the next thing to do is do something in GCP. Okay, right, so we have the storage area now, which is good. So now, if we go back to our GCP window, make sure that you're, if you've got many Google accounts like I do, just make sure this is still the same one. And then if you go into Firestore, I believe, is that what you do? Excuse me. Right. So project uses another database service. So I think, as I said at the start of this could be full of kind of foibles and weirdness, because I just wanted to simulate the foibles and weirdness that may happen to you. So what we're going to do, other hosting, GCP project and link this to the Firebase setup. That's what we've done. Enable storage. That's instructions. We've done that. Cloud Firestore. So let's go to data store. That's all we've done. And then we switch to native mode. So we switch to Cloud Firestore in native mode. We switch modes. That's what we do. We're now using Cloud Firestore in native mode. I think. Yeah. Yep, I think that's what we do. All right. So, if we go back to what we did in the last video, so just open up. So if we go here back to our dashboard.json, what this is in GCP speak is a credential set for a service account. So when the wiki is saying that we need to create a service account, and that's what we need to do. And this private key thing is what we're going to download. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So yeah, so let's just go to the service accounts page, as it's telling us to do, which is in I am admin, indeed. And if we go down to service accounts right here, then by default you have a load of service accounts that exist. We're going to create a new one, and we're going to call it all hands on dashboard. That sounds right. Service account description, so or rather remote monitoring of DAQ via Firebase. Alright, let's create that. So at this point, it's so we need to give the service account access to pub sub admin, storage admin, Cloud.SL user, and Firebase admin roles, because it needs to write to the Firebase database, it needs to read all the pub sub stuff, it needs to add things to the storage, because what this dashboard is actually doing, what this dashboard is actually doing is communicating with that Firestore database. So our local machine is writing to that database, and then the website is reading from that database. So the kind of common point of contact is Firestore, which is what makes the remote monitoring possible in the first place. So what do we need? We need to add a role. Let's try pub sub admin. Yep, do that. Add another role. Storage admin. Add another role. We need cloud data store user. There we are. We need Firebase admin role. Is that there? Firebase admin. Okay, so that's what we need. Pub sub admin, storage admin. Yeah, so that should be 4. Okay. Let's continue on to that one. So we don't want to give anyone else access to this because it's quite an OP account. But let's just create a key, and let's us create a JSON one. And let's call this, let's put this in where we are, which is all hands on DAQ down here. DAQ, in fact, let's create another folder here called dashboard keys, because of course you could have access to many different dashboards. And thankfully, GCP calls your JSON file or hands on DAQ. If you save it, then it'll be there. So if we just navigate back to there now, go into dashboard, go into dashboard keys, then we can see we have all hands on DAQ. There we go. So that looks very similar to the credential that I copied and pasted from my currently working dashboard. So there it is. That's what's going on. So now we've kind of replicated that step. But we're not quite finished because we have to click done. I forgot to do that once, and everything completely failed. Description. let's just make sure that's all that. Yeah. So now if you go to roles, no, that's wrong. If you go to so if you go to the service account you just created there, so I created one called All Hands on DAQ Dashboard, All Hands on Dashboard, sorry. You can see the roles that happens here, and Google will rightly tell you that, well, after 90 days at least, this account has a few too many privileges. These could be slimmed down, of course, but for the sake of getting things working for the moment, just don't share this key very widely. That's what I'd recommend on that one. Okay, so DAQ setup. What do we got here? So yeah. So for now, let's just remove that key that we had before, called dashboard.json. Let's delete that one completely. And let's move this one into, yeah, cool, like that. So now we have all hands on DAQ, blah, 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 blah. That's all well and good. So the power of this server's account is that it gives you a key to a load of code that runs on Google Cloud. So the reason that the only thing I had to do before was copy and paste my previously working key is because that key links to another Firebase instance which was set up a year ago now, that's just been running over there. Whereas let's just see what happens if I can't even press clear. If I run DAQ now with that new credential. Well, first of all, it's giving me a huge error because there's no end of line. So let's just put one of those there. That worked. Yeah, okay. So what I'm hoping this will do is connect, or try and connect to this dashboard thing, and then it'll just fail completely. Which is exactly what I expected to happen. But this might happen for you as well. And you'll see, loads of really weird errors from GCP. This isn't because the permissions that we've given it are wrong, it's because nothing exists in the cloud to run DAQ dashboard. Okay, so let's carry on with this. Yeah, so edit that, do the thing, do it there. Yeah, Firebase CLI existence. Yes, so so we're going to be installing things using the Firebase CLI. Basically, I'm not going to run through how to install that because it's fairly simple, depending on what machine you're on. My throat has just gone completely dry. Excuse me. Yeah, so basically what you should end with is the ability to run commands using the... Ooh, have I got it installed? Probably not, you know. Have I? Yes, I have. That's good. Yeah, so you should be able to type Firebase, probably -v. No, -v, minus version. Yeah, ta-da! That should give you a version. So, we are then going to go into DAQ Firebase functions. At this point, actually, I'm going to refer back to the docs folder. And where is it? I guess I'm going to refer to because I think that these installation instructions are slightly more up to date. Yep, it's initial setup. Basically, we've done the same. So there needs to be a GCP project that needs to be host everything. We've got that. Firebase console, we've got that. We have created a service account. We've done that. Got a thing. Got a thing. So here, we've got a thing where it's telling us to go back to Firebase. Just over here. Tell you what, let's just get these side by side. Did I even do that? Yes. Okay. Select your projects. Add app. This is probably where I failed. So select your projects. That's what we've done there. And we're going to add an just disappeared. Add an app. And we're going to run a web app. we're going to give it a clever name. And we're going to give it a clever name of DAQ. Dashboard. Like that. And we're going to enable Firebase hosting. Going to wait for that to happen. Yeah. We don't need to add the Firebase SDK because DAQ does that for us. Yeah, so this is the install of Firebase CLI. Put Firebase hosting. Continue to the console for now. What we're going to do here is we're going to get the config object like this. So that's just to run through how to get to that config object. So we've set up an app and we've called it DAQ dashboard. And to get the Firebase config object for the web app, which is there, basically at the time of writing, what you do is you go on your project, click this little cog, project settings, scroll down a bit, and then so for any web app, I've only got one, but if you've got more than one, select the right one. Config object and copy and paste this guy. And we're going to copy that snippet again to local Firebase config _.js. So we are going to do that. Firebase config.js. There we go. So that's kind of just like a little. I don't need DSLM for that. Don't worry about it. This is a little JavaScript object, which just configures our local instance to connect to allhands-on-DAQ.com. Blah blah blah. Okay. So add an API key description for an HTTP referrer. Let's just find out what that means. Okay, I'm going to come back to that one because I'm not convinced you entirely need that, but you probably do. Right, so this is where the auth bit comes in. So if we enable Google sign in, as we are told from here, how do we do that? Select your project. Okay. So how do I enable sign in? This is where it starts to go very wrong. Authentication. Sounds. Sign-in method. There we go. So we're going to enable Google sign-in. Right, project support email. I'm going to choose allhands-on-DAQ.gmail.com, and I'm going to enable that. Okay, so we can see there. If we refresh, it would be helpful if it would be, more dynamic than that, but it isn't. So we can see that Google is still disabled. Or is it? I mean, I didn't click enable, that's why. So make sure you click this little enable thing right here. And save it. Google enabled. Oh, we see, it's enabled. This is good. See the set of instructions. Okay, and then so back in our DAQ folder, if we go to Firebase functions, like that, we can see that we've got a package lock.json and a package.json. In the world of Node, those are the. Let's have a look at them. In the world of Node, these are little files which control the dependencies of your app, and we've also got an index.js. So I won't go through what it is because I probably couldn't tell you myself. Firebase functions, there you go. But all this is doing is basically pushing the state of DAQ to Firebase. That's what that does. So don't mess around with that too much. So if we just do an npm install here, you can also do npm I. Yeah, just a note on it. I've already got Node installed, but just a note on that. So you'll need Node.js installed. Why do you need Node.js installed? I'm not going to run a silly JavaScript web server. Well, neither am I. Node comes with the npm system, which is a Node package manager. which allows you to install dependencies for JavaScript applications. And we're running a JavaScript application, so we need Node, and that's why. So I installed Node using NVM, which is kind of an acronym for Node Version Manager. And if you're on Ubuntu or Debian, then it's very easy to install this, and it allows you to install multiple versions of Node at once, which is quite cool. So I can just go nvm list, for example, and currently I'm using Node version 8.14.0, so if I should node minus v, that's that. But I could also switch over to using Node 10.13.0 if I so desired. Okay, so that's that. So we've installed our, does that work okay? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. So we have installed our dependencies, our Firebase functions, and then if we go in Firebase, if we go back here, there is a deploy script, which we will use. And that will use our, so this is where it all goes horribly wrong. Loading config from local system conf into inst config system conf. What have I missed? I wonder. What have I missed? So local system conf, got Firebase config, should be all we need. Change our GCP cred thing? I think we did. GCP cred, all hands on deck, BA4, blah blah blah. Firebase config is called Firebase config for a reason, obviously. Firebase hosting. Copy the file, add an API key restriction for an HTTP referrer. That's not it. So, functions, deploy projects. Well, I haven't even read it. Authentication failed. That's what we see. Authentication. Firebase rules are enforced, requiring enabled user login to access data and reports. So, wow. When I last looked at this documentation, none of this stuff was here. This is the point. I'm going through the heartaches. Hopefully you don't have to. I'll see if I can edit this video to make it a little bit more, flowing rather than ebbing. Past it doesn't work. DAQ GSP connection. Do I need to sell the pub sub thing? I'm pretty sure I absolutely don't. Configuration data flow. Save state. Let's just see what happens if we run. Let's just get you there. What have I done there? Yeah. Command run -s. Because this should at least try to do something weird and fail. Maybe it won't. Yeah. So it's here saying that 404 resource not found DAQ runner. So DAQ runner is a pub subtopic on GCP which we haven't created, but it should be created by our deploy step, I believe. But we've got connection initialized, and we've got a loading conf. Well, we've got a registering kind of thing. And we're not getting any. Yeah, got a resource not found. Exception. So there's no 404s here, and that's the most important thing. No 401, sorry. Let's just do that again. Definition of tenancy, I know. Request had valid authentication credentials. Expected or auth 2 access token, login cookie, or other valid authentication credential. Okay. Maybe it's this. Maybe I shouldn't have ignored it. Adding restrictions to API keys. Maybe this is in here. Do I need to sign in? This bit will need to be fast forwarded. But let's just go through. This is just me kind of talking to myself at this point. This is me being my own rubber duck. This is what's happening. So we've installed. Got storage rules. What's this Firebase IML thing here? Yeah, it's not doing anything weird. Enable sign in from. Yeah. Aha! So what I need to do, of course, is log in using the Firebase CLI. So I'm currently logged into the Firebase CLI to something else. See, I'm logged in as jason.brewer@rfit.com. So I'm going to attempt logging out. See what that does. Sweet. So you need to log in with Firebase basically. So I unknowingly skipped the most important instruction, which is instruction 7. So I need to do Firebase login, and then yeah, why not? Then I need to log in to all hands on DAQ. Okay, sweet. Now, if we do deploy, it will, fingers crossed, deploy the website and also the functions and all sorts of other stuff. There might be a little warning about package.json saying that you've got out of date Firebase functions. This may impact you, it may not. Hopefully, it won't impact me much today or us as a wonderful DAQ collective. Yeah, packaging functions. Seems to be going quite well. So, the next part we're going to talk about is your Alexian authentication failed message, and that is what we should see next. So we're just going to wait for it to deploy, and that will mean that we can see our app at all hands on DAQ.firebase.com. One can hope. So this will take some time, apparently, and this will depend on probably your local network connection, and likely not much else, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. Anyway, so I mentioned before that the DAQ dashboard and DAQ auth system allows you to add users from the command line on your local machine. So if any viewers have played around with Firebase before and used it to create a web app, if you used it to create a web app, there could be a sign-in step, for example. So if we just go to this little site, which is also Firebase up, there could be a sign-up step, and you could sign up with Google, and you can do that in Firebase as well. But with DAQ, we try to do things a little bit more securely. So I think we're going to go on to next is adding users, well, or rather enabling users with DAQ. Okay, so here we go, finally. So if we go to this URL now, what we will see, of course, is authentication failed. Please sign in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see what happens if I sign in with Google and sign in with all hands on DAQ at gmail.com. What I will still get is authentication failed. Please sign in. Because it says that user not enabled, contact system administrator. So the kind of flow is you go to the DAQ dashboard link and then you sign up with Google, and it will sign you in, but it won't let you see anything. And then your system administrator will have to enable you to see all of the juicy DAQ data. Right now, I am my own system administrator, so we're just going to carry on following through. So let's see an authenticated fail message. Please see next session for details. Data path debugging. So authentication, faster rules are enforced, requiring enabled user login to access data and reports. Why is it so secure? I heard myself cry when I first started working on this. The reports the DAC gives out are the reports that come from devices that are installed within a building. So if anyone could see the reports, and if anyone could see all of the data that's coming to and from DAC, you'd be able to control the entire attack surface, basically. And this is not a good idea. So this step for enabled user login, in my mind anyway, is rather a good system. So basically, the next step is to run bin user enable, and that's about it really. So if we go back to our thing, so we're in the same directory as bin, right about here. If we just do bin and then user enable, then registering offenders, beautiful. So enable access for all hands on DAQ at gmail.com. Yes, enabling access, and that's doing Firestore things in the background. So if we go back here and refresh the page, then we can see that the system is initialized. And if I sign out and I sign in again with all hands on DAQ, then authentication failed initially. Please sign in. It's initializing. System initialized. I'm just going to do the same thing with another Google account to show you that multiple users can absolutely be added. And I'll go for Jason Brewer IT. Yep, user not enabled, system administrator. So we're going to run that bin user enable script again. And I'm going to enable access for this chap, aka me, as well. Yep, so system initialized. So we're just going to stick with the all hands on DAQ Gmail address, so everything's in one place. And then, lo and behold, we will attempt to run DAQ and see everything on a brand new dashboard. Command run -s. Oh, hello. So, fingers crossed. Yep, storage bucket exists. Faucet exists. So the errors that we were getting before about things not existing, they are no longer erroring, which is pleasing to the eye. Okay, right, so let's go back to our new dashboard. Refresh it a few times. Aha, and there I am. So there's the all hands on DAQ.firebase.app.com, and then I believe you can also do webapp.com, if that still works. No, maybe not. Let's go back. So, and then, so there can be multiple service accounts per dashboard, and multiple users per dashboard as well. But here we can see that everything's been set up correctly. Port 3 is doing its thing. Port 1 is probably doing its thing as well. Okay, so dashboard successfully set up. One note that might help to minimize the number of refreshes you need to do. I am using Google Chrome for now, and I have this little extension called Cache Killer, or rather Classic Cache Killer, which is quite hard to say really fast. And what this essentially does is make sure that your browser doesn't cache any JavaScript files, number one, and cache certain requests as well. Because sometimes if the cache becomes filled up, then this dashboard just goes a little bit out of sync. So if you're having trouble with the status of your DAQ dashboard, or you're just getting bored of refreshing every time, just give the classic cache killer a go. I'm not endorsed by this company, and they are not paying me anything at all. So I'm free and easy. It's all good. Okay, so there we are. That is a fresh DAQ dashboard fully set up.